What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to Tactical Newbie, the channel where a newbie like me gets into all things tactical. With the funny movie introductions out of the way per usual, like we always do, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, I'm going to be bringing back at least a segment that I've kind of featured at least a couple weeks ago. That specific segment being the tactical comparison segment of videos. Of course, if you saw by the thumbnail, essentially for those of you that are not familiar, the tactical comparison segment of videos is essentially where I take a Gucci tactical product and I cross-compare it to its clone, budget-friendly counterpart. Basically highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between to at least provide to you, the viewer, at least a possible counter or budget-friendly option, if you decided to go so, to at least provide a, as I did state, more budget-friendly alternative to an otherwise Gucci, mainstream Gucci tactical part or tactical component. But with all the rambling out of the way, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, again by the thumbnail, is going to be the tactical comparison for the T-Rex Arms Med 1 pouch, and I'm going to be cross-comparing it to its clone, budget-friendly Amazon / AliExpress feature. This is the Petac gear variant of the Med 1 pouch. As you can tell, at least based on at least aesthetics, for the most part, these two pouches are obviously fairly similar cross-comparatively. There is a couple at least highlighted differences between the two pouches, most of them being both in shape and size, but for the most part, overall function across the board is very, very similar. But with all the rambling out of the way, let's get both of these products on the table and let's take a look, again, at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we'll kind of highlight all the similarities and differences between those two products. But with all the rambling out of the way, I will see you guys on the other side. Alrighty, and away we go. So first we'll start by taking a look at the T-Rex Arms Med 1 IFAC pouch. Retail price was $50, obviously plus tax and shipping and handling, but T-Rex Arms, as far as I know, has currently discontinued this product. Stepping over to the Amazon budget-friendly clone, this is the Petac gear, at least budget-friendly alternative. Retail price is $19.95. As you can tell, there are at least pretty vast similarities between the two products for the most part in how the manufacturing, which I will touch on and highlight in a little bit later in the video. At least this might not be the alternative option that you're going to get moving forward. Retail price comparison obviously is the $50 from the $19.95, so obviously you save yourself a couple bucks there. But as I was kind of touching on, at least doing some extensive research to obviously make this video, I came to the realization that T-Rex Arms at least effectively discontinued their Med 1 pouch, which to the best of my knowledge, I've seen a lot of guys on specific at least YouTube videos running with the Med 1 pouch, which finds me a little bit odd that they would discontinue this product. Might have something to do with Lucas, who knows what, maybe it just a contract fell through, whatever the case may be. The Med 1 pouch for the most part is basically a slim US made IFAC pouch. It's made of durable Cordura fabric. It's featuring a key design element, which is a removable tray, a quick tray, which actually helps with organization and access. It also has elastic loops at the bottom for a tourniquet, and then Velcro on the front face and internal inside of the pouch within itself for customizations. It does have the pull tab at the top from the actual elastic tray to allow for one-handed operation, and then it does have it basically allows for fast, what they call it is fast extraction for context for immediate trauma care. The dimensions are approximately 7.5 inches long by 4.75 inches tall and about 2 inches wide roughly when filled. Aside from that, the rear is made of laser cut laminate belt loops, and it can fit up to basically I think all your standard, for the most part, all your standard battle belts, but nothing bigger than, I think it says 3 inches. But all things considered, this was kind of, it's a pretty streamlined across the board Med 1 pouch. I do kind of like the application and like at least the design with it. This internal tray does have a little bit of separations and differences between the Petac gear, which I will touch on when we get to that point. But I do like the featured availability of the obviously two-way zippers on both sides with the kind of tab or tongue on the tray that can kind of pop out of the top of the pouch to allow for either one-hand access from either side. As far as I know, you can mount it in either direction, both vertically or with the tab facing down if you want to create more of a pull down, at least, availability. I myself, at least at this present point, run it vertically, so the tongue or tab is in the vertical position. Obviously, you have the front Velcro for customization if you want to add any type of swag or anything like that to the front face. As I did touch on, does have the availability for a lower tourniquet, at least attachment point with the elastic down at the bottom, and then does have an eyelet down at the bottom as well for drainage, just in case that you have any type of fluid or anything, sand or whatever that might get into it. Coming from here over now to the Petac gear variant, as you can tell, or at least cross comparatively, they are fairly similar for the most part, at least when it comes to overall aesthetic looks and operations, but there is a couple key differences between this specific product and the one that obviously was made by T-Rex Arms, which I did touch on, is currently discontinued, which, touching on the T-Rex Arms variant, does mean that you do have to go through a secondhand supplier or hopefully some other person that might have an overstock or backstock of the Med 1 pouch, because again, to the best of my knowledge, T-Rex Arms no longer manufactures it. So if you were looking to get one at the time of viewing this video, unfortunately you might be out of luck. The Petac gear cheaper variant option is still at least available on Amazon at this current point. But with all of that out of the way, we'll go ahead and do at least the brief overview of the actual Petac gear clone variant. It's constructed of 500D nylon. Doesn't say whether or not it's Kedora. It has two-way YKK zippers for on the front quote-unquote loop of the pouch within itself. Has a tourniquet holder placed at the bottom of the pouch. Does have the little eyelet down at the bottom as well. And then inside the pouch does have at least hook and loop Velcro for at least, again, any type of at least modularity if you wanted to add any type of inserts or anything like that. The back designed does allow the feature, at least has laser cut belt loops that can basically accommodate 1.5, 1.75, 2-inch and 3-inch belts, so nothing bigger than 3-inch. The medical pouch is not MOLLE compatible, so take that into consideration. That goes for both pouches, the T-Rex Arms and the Amazon variant. Basically has slide-through availability where you essentially have to slide the belt through. There's no availability for mollying whatsoever. The compact medical pouch was also designed as a multi-use pouch. It has an inner 2 6-inch by 4-inch loop panel. That's the actual tray that you can remove for smaller objects. It does say it has a wider section loop on the front side as well, but did not see that. It looks very standard, just a 2-loop system. Pouch dimensions are at least the rundown for it are exact to the T-Rex Arms, even though variably the sizes do look significantly different between the two. But it says pouch dimensions when full is 7.5 inches long, 4.75 inches tall, and 2 inches wide. And I believe that is the same variable with that. And then the actual, at least, tray is 6 inches long by 5 inches wide. But yeah, that's basically a full rundown of the Med 1 pouch for the most part. Comparatively, as I did state, they are very similar, at least in overall design. Quality, there is some variable differences between the two in quality, as we will kind of get a little bit more in depth to, at least at the point when we actually cross-compare these two products. Generally, at least a more accurate kind of, at least, cross comparison between these two products. But looking at them up close, you can kind of see that, like I said, stylistically everything's pretty much the same. One of the big variables that you will notice down, at least at the bottom, it's kind of hard to see with the naked eye, is that the actual tourniquet loops down at the bottom of the pouch, there is some variable size differences between the two. Aside from that, the laser cut, at least availability on the rear side of both of the pouches are very similar. One thing you will kind of notice as a standout with at least the Petac gear variant is that is a older pouch. I did have that for at least well over a year and a half, almost 2 years, while the T-Rex Arms is fairly new. I got the T-Rex Arms Med pouch just a couple months ago, so just before it probably was discontinued, so I probably got one of the last ones in manufacturing, or at least being made. But I got that around the same time as when I got the T-Rex Arms AC1, and then, like I said, to the best of my knowledge, both of those products are now fully discontinued, at least to the best of my knowledge. Somebody can obviously correct me down below in the comments. Aside from that, the actual zipper strings obviously are comparatively different. The Petac gear has this kind of plastic wrap just kind of melted onto the zipper strings to allow for, I guess, a little bit more rigidity and a little bit more texture to pull. Aside from that, the front face hook and loop Velcro is very, very similar. Again, to add any additional swag as you see fit. The interior hook and loop Velcro, on both the pouches are also very, very similar as well. If you wanted to insert any type of Spirit System style or any other manufacturer style, at least inserts, you can do so. The actual pull tabs on both the, at least the internal function, the internal pull feature in both of the pouches, as I can't think of the word, is variably longer with the T-Rex Arms variant versus the Petac gear, so you do have a little bit more length to be able to pull through. Insert, I guess we'll just call it that. Aside from that, stitching cross comparatively is not significantly different between the two, but you do notice at least some not as neat stitching and some like double stitching in some of the areas on the Petac gear, especially internally. Stitches don't look as tight, but for a product like this, I mean, I can't see it really falling apart on you, just based on some of the significant differences in stitching. But then again, like I stated in multiple videos now at this point, it is kind of an aspect that you can run the risk of happening, especially with these budget-friendly alternatives that are made in China. QC is not as tight-knit, so sometimes you can get a lemon. There's actually probably a decent probability of getting a lemon, but at least the Petac gear variant to this point has held out very, very well. Looking at the two internal trays, as I did kind of highlight, there is significant differences between the trays. The dimensions of the first at least two front pockets are fairly similar. Elasticity, of both of the trays, I guess the material used is fairly similar as well. There is some dimension differences between the two trays. It does look like that the Petac gear variant is a little bit more meatier. Does have a lot of the tabs in the tray seem to be a little bit more fatter, while the T-Rex Arms variant is a little bit thinner. Stitching is comparable across the board. You do have the pull tab on the T-Rex Arms tray that's actually stitched on the rear side of the tray, while the Petac gear variant stitched on the inseam on that center stitch for the pull tab. But aside from that, comparatively, they're pretty similar. The biggest difference, as I did kind of highlight a little bit before, was the fact that the Petac gear variant only has the two pocket pouches. That's it. I mean, you just have the elastic pouches to be able to kind of stuff and stick stuff in there, while the T-Rex Arms variant, or the tray that goes with it, does have a rear pouch as well. If you wanted to slide in, some additional medical as needed, you could do so. Kind of build it out to be kind of a small stop the bleed type, at least setup. The tray is kind of a nice design, though. Like I said, it was kind of, at least to the best of my knowledge, one of the forefront features of the Med 1 pouch. Allowed for the availability to yank out that tray and get everything, hopefully, that you needed from whatever was contained in said tray, and allows for just quick and easy access to what you need without necessarily having to reach and fondle around and hope and pray that you grab what you need from any sort of insert or anything like that. All things considered, one thing that I am impressed with the Med 1 is similar to the T-Rex Arms AC1 plate carrier. Do like the woodland M1, I think it is, woodland color. It just really pops with this specific product, and actually pops really, really well with the T-Rex Arms AC1. Do like kind of the separation between the brown and the woodland. Does kind of just allow this like good contrast between the two colors, and really allow, at least aesthetically, the pouch to really pop out. I think it's going to be one of my more stylish Gucci setups, at least on the T-Rex Arms setup that I'm kind of building out and continuing to build out as we currently are kind of working into the new year 2026. But again, all things considered, with all rambling aside, both of these pouches, as I did state, are very, very similar. Obviously showcasing the tags at the rear side again. But like I said, price differential $19.95 versus $50, and then hoping to pray that you can find it
because T-Rex Arms does not manufacture them anymore. But yeah, all things considered, that's kind of what you get with the tactical comparison of these two products. They're fairly similar across the board.
Alrighty guys, I hope you liked the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of today's tactical comparison video, a part of the tactical comparison segment of videos that I do feature on the channel. Just a little bit of the highlight of the start of the new 2026 year. I'm going to be featuring a lot of these tactical comparison videos within the foreseeable future, within the next couple weeks and or months. I'm also hopefully going to be highlighting some at least tactical reviews of some of the budget-friendly optics that I did kind of at least highlight in some of my at least tactical haul videos of the AliExpress edition more specifically, as well as doing a couple more at least build outs, budget builds specifically, a couple more Gucci builds specifically, and then of course a couple other things down the pipe that I plan on featuring. Just spoiler alert for anybody that's gotten this far in the video, I am planning on doing some at least cross comparisons of a lot of the tactical products that I have featured on the channel already under night vision. Full transparency, the night vision at least optic that I do have is not of the most high-end or expensive variety, but hopefully at least with the research that I'm going to at least do with the cross comparison under nods and in infrared lighting, we will at least hopefully get some sort of general semblance of how some of these products do perform in those specific situations. But again, that's for most of you guys that have gotten this far into the video. Hopefully you have. Hopefully you're watching them all the way through. But with all the rambling out of the way, I'll touch on the same stuff that I normally touch on at the end of every video. I do have a Twitter/X. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you want to follow me there. I also got a Patreon. Feel free to hit that link down in the description down below if you'd like to contribute any sort of patronage to the Tactical Newbie channel. Keep in mind that the Tactical Newbie channel, everything that I feature on the channel, everything that I feature to, or at least have to record the channel and record videos on the channel, are 100% self-funded by myself. With my own job. I do not have any type of sponsors, do not have anybody giving me products and or money to do a favorable review. This is all 100% my own reviews, my own comparisons, and my own at least look at a lot of these products based on a newbie's perspective. Don't have the type of credentials obviously that a lot of guys have, but for anybody at least in my zone of at least experience who are looking to kind of step up to the next realm of things and maybe just needs a little bit of advice of just specific options, that's obviously what the Tactical Newbie channel is for. But with all the rambling out of the way, I will see you guys next week.